Hi everybody! Here again talking about the physiological changes the brain goes through when we develop PTSD. There are a lot of different changes that can happen both in the body and in the brain, but there's 4 big changes that happen in the limbic system of the brain when people have PTSD. These 4 systems of the brain work together to keep the body alive. It's really a very complicated and intricate process. It's actually pretty cool if you think about it from a scientific standpoint. From a medical standpoint, it really isn't. However, these 4 parts of the brain are the cingulate gyrus, which is responsible for processing emotion and regulating behavior. So when the cingulate gyrus is overactive, we don't have control over our behaviors. The cingulate gyrus is not able to help us regulate our emotions or our behaviors. So our behaviors tend to be much more uncontrolled. The cerebellum is responsible for movement and balance. When this becomes overactive, we tend to get into the startle response a little bit more. When something's perceived as dangerous, the cerebellum activates the muscle movements, which is the jumpiness that we feel. Third is the basal ganglia. Basal ganglia is a bunch of neurons, and these neurons are responsible for processing movement-related information, as well as emotion, motivation, and cognitive functioning. So when these basal ganglias are overactive, we experience a lot more anxiety and panic symptoms. Lastly is the amygdala, and the amygdala is basically a storage system and an alarm system. Its sole purpose is to keep us alive. When something sets off the alarm, the amygdala sends out the cortisol or the adrenaline into the body, giving us the energy that we need to run, fight, or do whatever we need to do to survive that moment. When we don't have PTSD, all of these systems work harmoniously with the rest of the brain and body and are not out of whack. But once we develop PTSD, you can actually see how activated these 4 parts of the brain are on SPECT scans. And it's just amazing the difference of a person with PTSD versus somebody that does not have PTSD and how activated these 4 systems are within the brain. However, the really cool thing about it is just as these physiological changes happen due to PTSD, we are completely able to adapt and what's the word I'm looking for? Heal. We're absolutely able to adapt and heal to bring our brains back into a sense of calm and not overaction. So I hope you guys did a really cool job with all of the dailies that there were this week on the Facebook group. Feel free to drop me a line, if you have any questions or something, if you want more information on something. I love to talk about PTSD. I love to talk about the changes in the brain because of it. I think that it's absolutely amazing what happens in the brain just from a scientific standpoint. But the even better part about it is how we actually can heal from it. We can actually readapt and heal our brain and allow these 4 systems to not create the PTSD symptoms for us any longer. So feel free to drop me a line. Next week, we're going to be talking about maintaining motivation. When we talk about PTSD symptoms and trying to help the brain readapt, one of the most difficult things is giving yourself the time and motivation that it takes in order to get your life back where you want it to be. So next week, I'll help you with that with some tips on how to maintain motivation. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great evening, and I will see you next time.